but it does the same basic thing, and say hello to the rest of the internet. So I'm William Dyke. Most people know me as Fuzzy Fox on the internet because everyone likes to have a weird nickname. So let's just do a quick go round and introduce ourselves and say who we are, what we do, and where we're from. So I'm Fuzzy Fox. I'm from the UK, and I do Mozilla stuff. Uh, Anyone else want to go next?
I'll go next. I'm Lucy. I'm from Toronto, Canada. It's not nearly as cold right now as people think Canada usually is. And I do Maker Party stuff with Mozilla.
I'm Vaikant. I'm from India. I contribute to Sumo and I like developing apps and debugging errors.
Hello, I am Achyut from India and I am a webmaker mentor and yes, I do take part in maker parties.
My name's Evan Jones. I am the web wrangler for Pursuitery.com, who is sponsoring / co-hosting the current WebMaker challenges. You can visit Pursuitery by looking at my name under my lower third there, and there you are. Happy to be here. Happy Monday.
And anyone else want to go? There's a couple of extra names floating around, but you don't have to.
Hey, this is Farida. I'm from India. I'm a newbie.
Nice to have you. You won't be by the end of this.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, so there was a rough agenda, and I'm going to completely flip it on its head because it's going to make it more interesting, and it means that we can do all the talking stuff and get that all out the way, and then do some hacking, which is what I'm guessing most people turned up for. So the first thing on the agenda is still the first thing now. So what's the guts of a web page, and what's kind of sits behind the scenes, and how does it work? Magnets, how do they work? No one knows how magnets work, but we do know how web pages work. So a web page is made up of very small chunks of syntactic sugar, I guess you could call it, stuff that you add to a bulk of content. So any decent web page is going to, like Wikipedia or your local news site or WebMaker or anything else, is going to have lots and lots of text on it that you can read, and images and pictures and videos and stuff that you can see, but it also has behind the scenes information, this syntactic sugar stuff that sounds complicated and really isn't, that says, hey, you're this kind of thing and you're that kind of thing, so when I look from top to bottom, I can see that this is a heading and this is a paragraph, and it makes it so that the computer, not just the human brain, can understand what the differences of these things are. And then that allows us to do some interesting things like apply some CSS, which is a styling language which makes things look pretty, or some JavaScript, which allows you to process and manipulate things on the page. We'll avoid too much of the CSS and JavaScript. We'll just do like a light touch on some CSS a little bit later. But we'll focus on HTML as the markup, the stuff that makes things work. So yeah, who's done any coding before and wants to try and explain or give us an example of a really simple web page? Going to try not to do all the talking, so.
Ellen, I believe you're muted if you're talking.
I don't know if your mic's working, Ellen. You don't have a mute icon showing for me, but we can't hear you. There's a chat feature in the side.
Just so if anybody's wondering about their settings, you can always take your mouse over the video part of your page and you can scroll up to the settings bar. which is going to be a gear in the top icon there.
While Ellen is typing, I will try. I've done like a tiny bit of HTML, so I will try and think of like a really basic web page. Maybe the most basic web page. If it just had like no moving images on it, it was just like a static document kind of page. I can't think of a link to one right now, but that would be my guess for the most basic, would just be like one static image and maybe some text, but no buttons or menus or other pages.
Yep, so that would be like a really good example of the most basic, and there's, I failed to remember the URL for it, but Evan has just typed a really, really simple Hello World web page, the source code for a Hello World web page, into the comment section, and yes, that dance is well worth celebrating. But there's a brilliant debate going on over on some of the kind of hacker developer website forums, such as Hacker News, that happened recently, where someone has made a web page that is just plain text. So they have a URL, and when you go to that website, all you have is text. There's no images, there's no CSS, there's no animations, no moving things, but it is a perfectly valid web page. The argument that they're having is that it's the best design of a web page you can have because it's guaranteed to work on every single browser ever, which is perfectly true. However, we also like to be able to see things that have something slightly aesthetically pleasing to them. So there are a lot of sites that we like to visit on a daily basis, either to get our news or to get our daily fix of cat videos. I can think of 2 websites off the top of my head there, which are perfect for that. Sometimes perfect for both. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick dive into how a web page looks underneath the hood today, and then a tool that we can use to make it much easier to start playing around and remixing that. So what it would be useful for everyone to do, I'm going to share my screen in just a second, but I'm also going to type the URL into the chat. Actually, I'll copy paste it because that's easier, and I'm lazy. So there's this wonderful character trait that's stereotyped of developers, which is that they are all lazy, and it is brilliantly true. I don't know any developer in the world that isn't lazy. We always do the bare minimum that we need to get it to work. So I'm going to start sharing my screen there, and you can see that the URL at goggles.webmaker.org brings you to this page with this X-ray goggles. So X-ray goggles is a tool to make it easy to see what's under the hood of a web page, but only for very small chunks at a time. If we were to look at the full source for a web page all at once, it might be quite an unnerving experience. Let me see if I can get that to show. So if I share out this screen instead, what you can see here is a terrifying look under the covers of that web page. So this is what that web page looks like to the computer, almost. The computer actually sees this with no colors or line numbers. What the browser's doing is making it a bit easier for us. But the browser's, when it shows you this kind of stuff, is still only targeting your developer-centric user, so someone that knows what all this stuff means. And that's not very helpful if we want to get started. So this X-ray goggles thing actually breaks that down for us. So I'm going to click this Activate X-ray goggles button right in the middle of the page, the great big yellow thing. And when I start hovering over bits of the page, now what I see is these little highlights. So if I hover over the logo, I see that that is highlighted just the image for me, and it tells me that it's an image tag, whatever an image tag is. If I look in the bottom corner of the screen, on the bottom, which side's my left and right? Bottom right-hand side, you can see it's telling me that this is an image element, and it's got all this extra stuff on it. And this is a heading element. So if I go in and change the heading, everyone has a couple of phrases that jump to mind that when they start going, I need some random words. For some reason, what jumps to my mind whenever I have to do a demo is cake bomb. I just love the concept of being able to throw something and cakes appear everywhere. So what I'm doing is I'm just going in and clicking on bits of the page, and I don't have to have a full understanding of what's going on yet, but I can see that this is a heading and it's wrapped with this H1 thing. And Goggles is doing most of the work to make it so that it's difficult for me to break the page entirely. So I could type in absolute gibberish, and it's just going to let me, but it's still going to keep the rough layout of the page good and correct. So let's all load up in our own computers that Goggles page, and what we'll do is we'll go through the demo on that page quickly, because there's actually a tutorial in there before I started breaking it. And then we'll go and remix one of our own web pages as well. Let's go over to, I've lost my screen. Too many windows open and too many tabs. Where are we? Screen share. That one. There we go. So you can press escape if you're already in the tool to leave it and reload the page so that you unbreak everything. And what it's got on the left-hand column going down the page, there's a small little example. So spend just like 1 or 2 minutes to quickly go through that example yourself if you need it. You can verbally ask any questions, or if you've done something completely radical and massively changed the page already, speak up and share your screen so people can have a nose. 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll install with bunny ears around that install the X-Ray Goggles into our browser, and we will then go and hack on a random news site. You can choose which one you want to go to. So start thinking of that news site as well while you're playing around with this little tutorial. And Evan's pointing out in the chat that if you can't see whatever's on my screen, you can click on my face, which sounds like a scary concept. It's all right. It won't hurt. There's a bit of an air gap between the camera and my face, so I won't feel it. It's fine. Okay, so let's go through the process of installing these magical X-ray goggles. So if you've got the tool loaded, so I'll load mine up so you can see. There's 2 ways you can leave it. You can either click the escape button, or you can push the escape button on your keyboard. And both will do the same thing, and it will just close the tool. So now what we're going to do is install this into our browser. And the reason that I said there's bunny ears around this, or inverted commas, is that what we're actually doing is creating a bookmark. So if you're in Firefox like I am, you can see I don't have a bookmark toolbar showing. This is by the default for a lot of browsers if you've never opened up your bookmarks or done any customization. There's a really easy way to turn that on, which is just to right-click up in the top corner on a blank space or on the little plus icon and click Bookmarks Toolbar. And it will add this extra bar across the bottom. I haven't done it in Chrome myself, so if anyone knows how to turn on the bookmarks bar in Chrome if it isn't on by default, share with the group so that any other Chrome users can find that. Evan's saying it's in the View menu, so View menu and then Show Toolbar, Bookmarks Toolbar or Bookmarks. And then all we have to do, I've already cheated. You can see I've got these words X-ray goggles up in the top corner, but I'm going to install it twice, again with the bunny ears. All you have to do to add it to your bookmarks is to drag that button up to your bookmark toolbar and let go. So that will add the button onto your thing, onto the toolbar, and then you can just click Activate, click that new little button that appeared, and Goggles is just going to start up the same. So what this is it's a bookmark to a little bit of JavaScript that then loads Goggles through the web. So there's no extra things installed technically on your system. It's just a shortcut to that same button, but it works anywhere on the web, which is kind of useful and cool. So I told you to start thinking of a news site. What news site should I what news site should I go to? I'll let someone else pick the site that I go and hack now, rather than hacking what my default would be. I'd probably use BBC News just because that's where I go for news in the UK. Someone's recommending the Google homepage. I'm not going to do the Google homepage for a reason. Just because the Google homepage has some extra hidden fun inside it that make it a little bit interesting to look at with X-ray goggles if you're a first-time user. I want something with lots of text and lots of images. So I've never heard of. I've got the New York Times showing up, Craigslist. There's too many options to choose from now. I shouldn't have asked that question, should I? Let's go to the New York Times, just because it's a news site. And I am going to go, and I don't have the URL saved. I don't need to ever remember it, so I'm going to cheat and Google for the website that I should go to. And it's going to take forever to load. Here we go. So what I can do now is I can click that button that I added into the top. And again, I get these hover over, and it tells me this is an image, and this is an A, whatever an A is, and P tags, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to start making some changes to this page. I've actually already loaded up another website, which is called PlaceKitten, which allows you to quickly drop images of kittens into web pages, into projects that you're making. I'm just going to right-click on an image that I like and copy that image location, and then come into this image over here and delete the src, the bit that looked like a URL, and paste in my kitten image in there and save that back to the page. So let's spend a couple of minutes creating a fictitious front page news story on a news site. It doesn't have to be the New York Times, but it does have to be a news site. I'm going to specify that. And create a fictitious, like, one paragraph intro to your random news story with kittens or dogs or astronauts or cake bombs. And when we've done that, we're going to publish it and save it to our to the web so that we can share it with other people. So has anyone got any questions before we start storming into that?
Sorry, I'm just running to Twitter right fast because I have to make the world know that we are turning various important web news sources into kitty parties.
That is a very, very important tweet. The world must know that kittens are more important than whatever the world affairs are.
Well, the world affairs can be there, but there could just be pictures of cats as well. I mean, it is the internet.
Very true. I'm going to share my screen again so you can see me hacking on mine, so that those of you watching this live on the internet don't just have my face pulling weird expressions at you while this time frame goes on and I come up with funny headlines that make sense in my head but make no sense in the real world. Okay,
So
so
what-
oh yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering if you can update us on what you were doing, just because I got worried without hearing the dulcet tones of that lovely voice of yours. The theater.
So I've just finished my really quick hack, but I've also had a bit more experience at this. So does anyone want any more time, or shall we go on to saving and we can remix again later? I see no calls for wait. So I'm going to start sharing my screen again and show you how you can save. This works best if you have a Gmail email address. Oh, I didn't want to hit the escape button there. It's fine, I can hit activate goggles again. So if you accidentally quit goggles, doesn't matter, you can just click that button again as long as you don't reload the page, and all your changes will still be there. So there's a useful hint. But down in this sidebar, there's another big clue, which is this publish button. So to save my changes, where one of the headline articles on the New York Times is that kittens have been found by the Dogs Association Against Cat Memes to be mastermind criminals. I'm going to save this because I have to share it with the world. I hit publish, and it's going to throw this sign in to publish your remix page with a sign in link up in the top corner. So I'm going to click sign in, and it's going to ask you for an email address. I'm going to use my work email address just because I don't want to share my personal one with the world. But an @Gmail address, this is also really easy, and this will not just signing in, but if you haven't got an account with WebMaker, it will create one for you at the same time. I do have one, so this is going to take me to a login. So if you're signing in with a Google address, it will take you to a Google login page instead of a Mozilla one. It's my work address, so it's going to work over here. You might not have seen that little pop-up window either. I realize that that doesn't show up because I'm only showing one of my browser windows. There'll be a little pop-up window, which is a Persona login window. And once you're signed in, you'll get hi. Usually you'll get your name. Apparently I'm undefined. A link to my makes and some other things. But what you want that's interesting is this instantly publish your remix to a URL so that anyone can view with a publish to the internet button. It's the publish to the internet button that we're really after. And it's going to take a little while. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a complete copy of your changed version of that page and give you a very, very long URL to that link, to that change, which you can then click on and see with a little disclaimer across the top that this isn't the official New York Times website, your modified version of the page. So I can see that kittens have been found to be master criminals. And I can then share this link with anyone I want. You want to stay on page. So I'll give you just a couple of minutes because those of you that haven't got accounts yet, you'll have to sign up, and I know that takes another like 30 seconds more than someone who's already got an account and talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour and clicks and types at more words per second than is saying sometimes. But once you've got that, copy that link and drop it in the chat so that people can go and have a look at your versions. Does anyone want to share their screen instead of me sharing mine all the time and show theirs to everyone and talk about what their inspiration was? Mine was, of course, kittens because we've been talking about them. But anyone else, what inspiration did you have and what did you make?
I'll be really boring. I was also inspired by kittens, but I think I did a pretty great job. So I'm gonna figure out how to share my screen here.
So it's the second one down on the left where it says it's like the green arrow, but not the green arrow, not the superhero green arrow. Careful, you might go into web inception there if you have your Google Hangout window open. There you are. I see you. So if everybody clicks on, yeah, you're on.
Awesome. So I just went through the New York Times homepage and replaced all the words of unhappy things with kittens. So Gaza kittens play with wool. Cats deny responsibility. A surrogate kitten delivers heartbreak. Fear of kittens breeds a terror of canines. Despite gains, dogs see a fight for their existence. And then I replaced all the images with kittens.
We should just have a kitten replacement tool for WebMaker where you click a button and it does exactly that. That's great.
All the nails with kittens. It really makes for a happier world. I will stop sharing.
Does anyone else want to share their creation? Has anyone else gone and replaced all the bad words with kitten? Because that's an ingenious idea. Nope. Okay. I'm going to quickly look at what the next thing I was supposed to talk about is, and go and actually kittens is really useful remix because the next thing I'm going to talk about is memes. And what is a meme and craziness? Well, for a lot of people, a meme is a cat picture with text on it, like ICANN has cheeseburger. But memes have actually been around a lot longer than the internet. The internet is this wonderful newfangled technology, but memes have actually been around a lot longer. A meme is, according to Wikipedia and Google and some other places on the internet, typically places that are online dictionaries, it's an idea that can be shared, an idea, behavior, or style that is just shared very, very quickly between a group of people. It was originally coined in 1970-something by a evolutionary biologist called Richard Dawkins in a book about genes. So that it was a shortened word, a bit like genetics is shortened. Sorry, it's not like genome is shortened to gene or something like that. I can't remember. I should read more repeatedly of the same thing so that I remember the exact words. But I don't need to quote these things exactly. I just need to give the idea that it's a shortened word. And it was to do with genetics. It was to do with the idea of how a virus or something can be shared throughout. Yes, the word that I'm not even going to try and pronounce badly that appeared in the comments from Evan. How things within biology should distribute rapidly among communities. So that's when the term was coined, but the actual, what we understand of memes being little funny pictures that are virally shared or repeatedly remixed or used, actually started way back before World War II. So there's a reasonably well-known image that's etched into pavements and into walls and drawn onto the sides of public toilets, along with all those other doodles that you find on the sides of public toilets. But this one specifically, which is Kilroy Was Here, and no one knows where it came from originally, but it's been around. It's definitely been around since before World War II, and it's just a little man with a very long nose poking his head over the edge of a wall, and it says Kilroy Was Here. Let me load up the tab that has a lot of pictures of Kilroy Was Here, because that's one of the tabs I did manage to remember to load. So here we go. So a very famous image all over the world, and still a meme online today, and an inspiration for some of the modern memes that we see today as well. Such as Pedo Bear, which is a cute, cuddly-looking bear that sticks over the side of images in a slightly disturbing way. I think that's the politest way to describe it. But there's also many character drawn that's repeated over and over and over the world over. And the internet essentially just made this super easy to do. So there's been an explosion of memes in the past 25 years since the web was born. And what we're going to do is we're going to contribute our own kitten-themed imagination or cake-themed imagination into this meme culture and create our own memes. But before we do that, let's get some creative juices flowing and share some of our favorite memes. Kilroy was here is one of my favorite memes, but I have a preference. Other people have other preferences. So what are your guys' preferences to memes? What kind of memes do you like? Cat-based memes or non-humor memes which are funny because they're not funny? I don't quite get that myself. My sophistication level is not that high. So yeah, I think you're muted, Evan. Oh, haha! Lucy's shared a meme in the chat, which is a Zoidberg meme. The Zoidberg memes are actually I like Zoidberg. I'm not the biggest fan of Zoidberg memes, but that's kind of a cool one.
Zoidberg memes are amazing.
I think Zoidberg is just a meme on his own, though. He doesn't need the additional memes around him. Evan is saying Forever Alone. There are a large variety of Forever Alone memes out there. So let's dig in and create our own. I'm going to share another link into the chat for everyone, if I can remember where I put it, to a short URL, which for those of you who can't see it, it's bit.ly/thimblememe, all one word. And I'm also going to share my screen. I'm having fun with this screen sharing thing. On and off and on and off and on and off. I apologize if it's just lots of flashing images to the rest of you.
Test.
Yep, we can hear you. So this time we're in a slightly different pool.
Okay. Notice all my internet is all my coworkers come in.
But so there's a very particular meme called Doge or Doggy or Dog, depending on how you decide to pronounce D-O-G-E. Doge seems to be the most accepted term that I've heard. But what we're going to do is we're going to make our own Doge meme, or just our own meme in general, and swap out the project entirely. But this is about what we've got in front of us is a slightly more complex tool than X-Ray Goggles was. X-Ray Goggles showed us just individual elements of the page. So remember when I was talking about this syntactic sugar? It showed us just one piece with the content inside. Thimble shows us the whole web page at once. And this is a very simple web page. So most of the crud that you would see behind the scenes of something like WebMaker or Google or BBC News or the New York Times that does a whole bunch of magic things to make them better for Google search rankings and to make it easier for people with screen readers. A really, really, really simple page doesn't need that much around it. There's not too much content here to have to parse for the computer and for our brains to parse. But we get a stupid amount of enjoyment out of the small amount of information that we're going to parse. So you can see here that I've got top caption showing over on my right-hand side on my preview of what I'm making. I've got a tutorial on the very left-hand side to help guide me through the process. And I've got the code sat in the middle. And I can see that I also have top caption. So my guess, if I'd never seen this before, is that if I change top caption in the code, top caption changes in the preview, just like in X-Ray Goggles. So I'm going to type in Cake Bomb. And instantly I can see Cake Bomb is happening over on my right-hand side preview as well. I can also change out images, so I'm going to use that same kitten image that I had earlier and just paste that in. So now I've got my kitten with Cake Bomb, and my story was about kittens being criminal masterminds, so I'm going to make this Cake Bomb. I'm going to type an extremely long one and see how well this reacts. There we go. I'm going to make it shorter because in the spirit of memes, there's usually very little text. There you go. not Kitten's invention. So I've created a meme super quick, but I'll leave you guys to actually spend a bit more time and a bit more ideation. I have very few imaginative ideas left in me at this time of the afternoon for where I am, but some people have better inspiration towards the end, and I'd probably have a bit more if I didn't rush through at 30,000 miles an hour. But I'm gonna, if I'm not logged into the tool, just like with X-ray goggles, I can click the sign-in button that was up in the top corner here, and this time I have a save button, and I can change some tags around, and I can pick some images and the locale, and I'm in the UK, not the US, so I'm going to say that my language is in English, and I can then hit save. And very similar to Goggles, it then gives me a URL that I can share with the rest of the world. So take a bit of time and hack on your modified version of the meme. What I'm going to do is actually break some things in the tool so that if you're still watching and still looking for some, oh, I can actually break things this time, just a little bit of kind of comfort and supporting knowledge behind you. If you break something, it's not a problem. The internet is made to be broken. It's very difficult to break it, actually. And people actually get hired to break it. I think that's pretty much what every single web developer's job is. We're just hired to break things. But if you break something inside Thimble, what it's going to do is it's going to give you this little red indication on the line that you broke, and it's going to try and help you work out how to fix that. So in this case, I didn't close with a H2 properly. It said that it doesn't end with an angle bracket. So I'm going to put my angle bracket back in there. And magic, fixed! I could break some other things, or I could start playing around in the CSS, which is that bit underneath that we haven't encountered yet, and start typing random words to change the color, because I don't want the color to be black, I want it to be red. Or a very nice color that I like is teal. Teal works. Or if you've experienced some colors before, there's these weird numbers at the bottom, but I see it's a color, and it's 6 numbers followed by a prefix with a pound sign. So I'm going to pound sign and see what these 6 digits look like. Ooh, a very nice blue. So go change some colors up. Don't worry about breaking things. It's all about breaking things. And if you break something and can't fix it or don't understand why it broke, speak up and we'll try and peer assist each other. I'm a developer. I'm a lazy developer, as I explained at the beginning, as all developers are. So I can help you out as well if someone else doesn't want to jump in and beat me to it. I'm going to save my latest changes to the kitten as well, because I have to save the kitten love. Someone made a creepy one? That is kind of creepy. You know, if you told me that you watch me when I sleep at night, I might be going to the authorities and asking them to make you stop. Let's have a look at some of these other links that are appearing in the comments.
Hey, William, can I ask real fast, how do we share?
So I will screen share again very quickly and close that. So all you have to do is make some changes. If you're signed in, it should have either your kind of a photo and your name that you created when you signed up with your WebMaker account, and a view and save button. If you click the save button, there's going to be a whole bunch of options you can fill in and change, or you can be lazy like me and just say yeah, whatever, and save it, and it's going to give you a copy and paste URL. It's also going to give you, though, a little bit unlike Google's, the ability to tweet or Google Plus or recommend this without even leaving the tool, so it's all in place. But if you want to share it into the chat with other people, it's this copy and paste URL. Right-click, copy, just like you would with anything else. So I will share my one into the chat. And I have another little activity planned for you guys to go one step further. And we've taken some time and hacked a news site of our choosing. A lot of people did the New York Times, but there's also this philosophy of remixing and remixing remixes of things that WebMaker tries to encourage. So you'll notice on the URLs that people are sharing, you don't have the tool loaded, you just have a blue bar across the top with a remix button in that top corner. Turn all the things to kittens. Sorry, I'm just looking at one of the projects that appeared in the sidebar, and I shouldn't have been looking while trying to talk because it's very distracting. But so there's that remix button up in the top corner. So I'm going to copy a link out of this sidebar. I'm going to use the one that distracted me and reshare my screen. And load it into a new tab so that I don't lose all my other tabs. Turn all the things to kittens. So there's this green remix button up in the top corner, and I can click that, and what it's going to do is it's going to go, oh, I'm going to take that project that you were just looking at, copy it, and make it so that you can edit it yourself. So I'm going to change the background color on this from pink to tomato, because tomato is an awesome color. And it's telling me I'm breaking it by adding a semicolon because there's already one down here. So I'm actually going to do it that way because can. And then I'm going to save my version of your project, Lucy, and boom, I now have a link which is the exact same as yours because I'm a lazy dev, but it has a red background instead of a pink one. So pick one of the random projects that have appeared in the sidebar, which people have been using, and so Evan's got one, I've got one out in there, Lucy's put one in there, or even go back and use goggles again on some of the remixes that we used earlier on the news sites. Just find one of those projects and then activate your goggles. And do some remixing of remixes, and we'll see how our collective craziness turns into hopefully something that doesn't cause too much distress on the brain because of the awesome.
Evan, I remixed your meme.
Hey, Lucy, I heard you like memes.
Did you stick a meme in her meme? That sounds worse than I intended. So there's
I don't.
So there's a meme on the internet which is, hey, I heard you liked X, so I put an X in your X. Exhibit. X being a word that you replace with anything you want. So, hey, I heard you like memes, so I put a meme in your meme. Or, I heard you like Nyan Cat, so I put a Nyan Cat on your Nyan Cat. It's a very similar vein to those really bad jokes where you just replace one word and it's a joke that is different to the joke that you heard previously. It fits to the lazy debate.
You may want to mute yourself if you've got a really loud TV signal going on.
So I'm going to share one more quick link with you, and then we'll go all out crazy on one final make, and we'll collaboratively work on a project together, or at least attempt to. So there's I would highly encourage you to go and explore this world of memes, and while you're at it, start making memes by remixing different web pages with photos from anywhere you can find of kittens or of ducks, and you'll understand ducks if you explore what memes are, or of bears, or of dogs, or of people laying flat on their face. I think that's called planking. And go crazy with that afterwards. But there's a video that I'd quite like to share with you just while we're sitting in the meme trend, called The Gag Quartet. I'd recommend that you go and look it up on YouTube. But what it is it's a video full of memes. There are over 40 memes in one song. They're playing bits of music that are memes on their own right. There's Nyan cats flying around through the sky, because why not? And I'm going to pause the video before I start infringing on anyone's copyright for too long. But have a look, see how many memes you can identify before you go and do your research, and then see how many you can identify afterwards. And have a lot of fun exploring this crazy, pure remix culture where people have taken thing A and thing B and just smashed them into each other. And I realize I'm doing all these amazing, huge hand gestures in front of my video screen while I'm screen sharing, so you can't see the hand gestures. But yeah, let's take one of these projects, and I'm going to pick a random one from the comments. Hit remix. See this, you can just see me pulling weird faces at the camera while I do this. And start screen sharing it again. So for those of you watching this on the stream afterwards, find some friends, join a Skype call or a Google Hangout, or create your own Hangout on I'm going to slaughter. I can't read or write today. This platform that we're using right now, and Evan is on mute trying to shout it at me.
I'm not on mute.
Oh.
You could always just click on Evan's face and look at Pursuitery.
Ah, yes.
Or the tattoo I have on my back that goes between the shoulder blades.
That's proper dedication. I can't claim I have that.
Well, we already changed the name once, so we can't do it
again. But go and create a project, sign in, and then one of you start the collaboration by hovering over your name, clicking collaborate, and it's going to, if you actually click on it, give it a couple of seconds to load, it's going to throw this new window at you. I've done this before, so I'm just going to click I'm ready and copy this link into the comments on this video that those of us who are currently joined can see. But if you share that with your friends over Twitter or over the link at Evan's face, or whatever method works best for you, what you can actually have is a bunch of you all working on the same meme together. So it can get a bit crazy, especially with just one meme, but go in, work together to create this new, crazy, weird hybrid of many memes all at once. So I'm going to change the background color of this thing to my discovered color that I found, while someone else can go and change some text. And someone else could change the image, and what we'll do is work collaboratively. So Curious Cat, Observant Owl, and whatever I am appearing as, Intelligent Iguana, all working together to create one meme. So I think we should change what this image is. I'm going to go hunting for kitten images again. Actually, no, I'm going to hunt for a cake bomb. Let's see what I get if I say cake bomb. Images. And while we're doing that, I'm going to give you a quick tip on finding images on Google. So when you're searching for images on Google, it's kind of nice to respect people's usage rights for things. Google has under search tools, when you do an image search, a little button that you can then toggle for these usage rights, and you can pick labeled for reuse or modification if you're making a meme. That's kind of a nice, slightly more friendly way to work with people. And I'm going to go and find an image from that now refined search that I know I can use any of these images. And I like this one because I don't know why. It's just crazy. Another recommendation I have is always click through so that you get the image on its own from a Google image search, because then that way you don't end up with a really super long URL. Google likes to have very long URLs that actually link to a copied, cached version of that photo. Here we go. I'm going to change this like that. Oh, and break stuff at the same time because I am magic. There we go. Oh, and the image didn't change in my preview window. That's because there's a problem somewhere. It's saying that's a problem. So if I fix that error, apparently it's still not working because there's, oh, we have the project in here twice. Okay, I'm going to delete the second one. I'm going to fix some things. There we go. So one thing that's useful to know is in Thimble, if something breaks, you have to fix it before it shows you the preview, just to prevent you from having really, really, really broken pages, which make it hard for other people to come and remix and learn from later. So I'm going to save myself a copy of this and drop the link into the chat so people can see it later. I'm looking for my screen share button. There we go. So we have a collaborative project that we've created, which is a crazy meme. So I think that's everything that I wanted to cover, but I'm guessing some of you may have come with questions. So throw things in my general direction. Verbal things, though. Don't throw physical things at me. That wouldn't be very nice. You'd have to throw them a very long way as well.
I see that misspelling. Like, it wasn't on mine, but then it made it into the meme.
Oh. So the collaborative feature is a little bit experimental. So sometimes wonky things happen that can't be explained. But that's the nature of a collaborative document. Many crazy things can happen without you quite knowing what's going on. It's extremely difficult to have real-time modification of similar things. So we got wonkiness. If you don't like the wonkiness, the wonderful thing about the way that the WebMaker tools work is that there's a remix button in that top corner if you go and visit the link, and you can go and go, I don't like your version. I'm going to go and make my own version of the thing that we worked on together because I can. I'm judging by the silence that there aren't any questions. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, but give everyone else time to say goodbye in their own crazy way.
Maybe Evan should talk very briefly about the challenges that are associated with this, because I see that the challenge link for this event is now up and running.
That's a very good idea.
Segways.
Segways.
Yeah, if you visit Pursuitery.com, which I've put into the chat, if you're watching this on the internet, you're probably already there. We will have challenges as well as geekouts running for, I believe, the next, this week, next week, and the week after. So you've got that going on. I've actually got to update some challenge listings, so they'll be live in just a matter of minutes. This challenge, the current challenge, is live on the website, now running. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about App Maker, we talk about X-ray goggles, we'll be talking about making memes, we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. So that's all going to be on Pursuitery.com, and you can join the challenge for this Geek Out now.
Exciting. For the next 2 Mondays, we have other events just like this on different topics.
Mm-hmm.
So exciting. I'm excited.
Much excitement. Mini
I
Geek
can't wait
Out.
to join someone else's Geek Out and see how they run it.
My
'Cause
geek out is next Monday, so you can join and watch me teach popcorn maker.
Ooh. I like popcorn. Sweet or salted?
Both.
Both. Mind blown. You can't mix them together.
But you can.
Okay, I'm gonna throw one final exercise out there. So before we all just vanish off your internet screens, let's say goodbye to each other in the craziest way you can think of. So you have 2 words, and they have to come up with some kind of expression of how you thought this went, and that's your goodbye message. So mine is cake bomb.
I don't know.
Am I making life hard for you?
Awkward silence.
Popcorn maker.
Visit Pursuitery.
We'll see you guys next Monday.
Okay.
That's like 7 words.
There's too many words, don't cheat. Okay, bye everyone watching this on the live stream.